some noise right now for Reverend Al Sharpton. Oh, you can do better than that. We're talking about the Reverend Al Sharpton. Everybody up to your feet. Let's go.
Keep hope alive. Good. We're going to get right into it because our special guest has a tight schedule, so we don't want to waste time. We want to get right into it. But we are just honored and delighted to have an individual for a number of years have spoken truth to power. Fear was never a factor, but always represented his people. And he's one that I've learned from being around him. He goes where he's celebrated, not where he's tolerated. He just doesn't show up. If you invite him, if he's available, he tries to accommodate. Very unique in this current environment. And so we consider him not only a friend, but a strategic partner. We have a lot of work to do here in New Jersey. We have a new administration. We see tremendous opportunity within the state of New Jersey, and we have the talent that can align with these opportunities to improve the overall competitiveness of the state of New Jersey. So without further ado, please allow me to present to you the Honorable Dr. Reverend Al Sharpton, founder, National Action Network, American civil rights and social justice activist, political analyst. Give it up for the Reverend Al Sharpton. It's all yours, leader.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me thank, first of all, John Harmon. Give him a hand. Does such a great job. I want to acknowledge the head of our Northeast region of National Action Network, founder of NANS, Newark Tech in Newark, New Jersey, Reverend Steffi Bartley, and our special national advisor on these kinds of affairs that deal with economic development and empowerment, Carol Wallace is with us. As I was driving out from the city, I thought about, as we approach the whole discussion that I'm speaking to today on the state of Black New Jersey, I thought about my first encounters with New Jersey and what we had to deal with and where we are now. I started in Brooklyn, New York as a boy preacher. And at 12 years old, my mother, because she came out of the Pentecostal church, did not like that I was watching a lot of news and wanting to do a lot of things in the political/civil rights space. She took me to our pastor, and Bishop Washington brought us to Reverend William Jones, and Reverend Jones said, I know what to do with him. We'll put him in Operation Breadbasket. Jones had just been appointed by Dr. King the year before Dr. King died, and he became the head of that in New York. And Jones introduced me to Jesse Jackson, and Jesse became a mentor to me, and the rest was history. I say that because what happened in Breadbasket, and I'm talking now 69, 70, I'm 13, 14 years old, is that we would go to corporations, at that time it was A&P, which was the Walmart of that time, and say that we need to enjoy an economic relationship, not an economic exploitation. And they would resist. I'm talking about 70s now. I'm talking about 56 years ago. And we would get the churches and black radio to just tell people don't go to A&P. And it shut it down to the point where we put blacks on the board, got black contractors. Went all the way up until National Action Network started doing the same thing with Earl Graves and others. Now, when we get to New Jersey, my next experience was, I remember in 91. I came out to Teaneck. They killed a young man, a policeman killed Philip Pennell, and we marched about that. I remember when Ken Gibson ran in 70, and we won. Jesse had sent us out here, and we campaigned in Newark. I remember that they sent us to an address, and I was 16 then. I took my youth group, and we knocked on the door, and guy opened the door, had on all the African garb, humming, and said, Habar Gandhi. I come out holding his church. I didn't know what that meant. And he looked at me again and said, Habar Gandhi. And I still didn't respond. He tried the third time, Habar Gandhi. I said, well, hallelujah. And they told Jesse teased me about that the rest of my life. We went from Gibson on to Sharp James, on to Curry Book, on to where we are with Ras Baraka. So we made some political moves, but economically, we have not made the progress. When you look at the fact that in a 3-year study that Harmon made public, 3-year study, $11 billion statewide, blacks won less than 1%. It means it's not a race thing, it's an investment thing. If we invest our dollars with you, if we put our votes with you, then where is the return? Now, for people to accept our consumer dollar and accept our votes, but do not accept what they're going to reciprocate with that, is for us to be back in an enslaved environment. So the question is not what is the reason that we are where we are. The reason is that we are in unfair, unequal arrangements. And we just need to admit that. I don't care if it's one side or the other. If it's Republican or Democrat, they know how to deal in every community. And if we are foolish enough to deliver something for nothing, that's not on them, that's on us. Now, there are different strands in our community. There are those that negotiate, and there are those that are inside negotiating, and there are those that's outside making noise to make sure the negotiations go well. I tell people all the time, I am not the guy go inside. I'm the guy to turn the heat up outside. But you do not get anything inside unless somebody turn the heat up so that they sweating inside. That's what Breadbasket did. That's what National Action Network does now. We need John and you all that are in the chamber and you that are in business to be businessmen. I don't need you to march. I don't need you on the picket line. But what we need you is when Bartley and I come out and do that, is to be inside trading for equality on what is economically empowered, not trading on I will give you a picture with me at the governor's mansion and support your assemblyman who could get elected anyway in the all-black district. We're trading for the wrong things. It's a disgrace that New Jersey, where blacks in New York think y'all out here laying up in the suburbs with big houses, got 1% of the money. I told Joe Biden when he was president, let's not meet about just talking. Let's meet about where the budget is. Well, Reverend, the governor just got in. Good. She dealing with the budget. Good. Every major business in New Jersey is subsidized with government money. So we are taking our government tax dollars and giving contracts to people that had nothing to do with you winning for governor. So let me get this right. I met with a union in New York not long ago, another one in LA. Union has pension funds for their union members, pensioners. 72% of one union, black and Latino. Other one out in LA was about the same. You ask them, are the pension funds, who's on the pension board? Both unions, all white pension boards. How you have almost 3/4 black and brown members and no black and browns on the pension board? Well, let me see where y'all invest the pensions. They invest a lot of the dollars in with developers, all white pension boards, all white developers. So let me get this right. I meet with the president of the union. Grandma is being gentrified out of her house because you're investing her dollars in the developer that's gentrifying her. So we're paying for our own removal. So that's not about Rem Allen, y'all talking about some controversial too black. No, the question is, are we stupid? Nobody would permit that in any other community other than us. When Barack Obama was president, I was close to Obama, every ethnic group understood where their piece of the pie was. We are apologizing for being free. We celebrate. They're talking about they're going to have the 250th anniversary of the country. And I told a reporter, got mad at me, well, first of all, 250 years ago, we were still slaves. I mean, I'll come to the party, that's all right. But that ain't my party. We didn't get free to 1863 from slavery. So the fact is, let's not redo history. Garden State, where are we in the garden? Everybody got a rose and we in the thorns. We must have a proactive, unapologetic agenda because the Democratic Party cannot win without us. But we must put a reciprocal relationship on the table. That's not begging. That's being one that does politics in a fair way. Well, all y'all shaking us down. No, we're not telling you what black to do business. You can choose the best qualified black, and there are some. But we telling you got to up more than what you're doing. You can make your salute and choose anyone you want. But you got to do it in our community. Why? Not to make black entrepreneurs rich, but when blacks are in business, they hire other people, they invest in our community, it uplifts everybody. And what we must do is have the mentality that we are full citizens and should operate like everybody else. Some of you, I'm sure, heard the story that Harriet Tubman got a big award, and they said, we're saluting you because you built the Underground Railroad and brought 500 slaves to freedom. And when she got up, she said, I could have brought more if I could have convinced them they were slaves. Our problem is that we have a mentality that we're still in the back of the bus. We apologize for what our parents and grandparents fought to give us. If they fought to open the door, you've got to be bold enough to walk through the door and take advantage of that. Let me tell you something. We should be more proud than anybody in the country because we took more than anybody in the country. Do you realize, and let me say this, and I'm not going to be too long. We were taken from Africa, robbed. There's been other forms of slavery. None like us took our names, language, separated our families, sold mama to South Carolina, daddy to Georgia, never to reconcile. Took everything from us, yet somehow we survived. Nobody went through the form of slavery we went through. Read history. Most slavery, they at least knew who they were. had their name, had their background. You stripped us of everything, yet we survived. 1863, Civil War, when they were on the verge of coming all the way north, the Confederate Army got as far as Virginia, and Frederick Douglass, an abolitionist, was telling Lincoln, you need to let the slaves be free and join the Union Army. He was reluctant to do it. Finally, he agreed when they got up that close. And he let the slaves join the Union Army from the slave states. And the slaves backed the Confederates up. That's why I tell people, Lincoln didn't free the slaves freed Lincoln. He signed a proclamation, January 1st, 1863, 12 midnight, blacks could walk off the plantation. That's where Watch Night meeting came from. Watch Night was not about getting a party and drinking some Ripple. Watch Night was about, we celebrated slavery was over. But watch this, when we walked off the plantation, we had nothing. We had no money because we'd worked 246 years and never got paid. We had no education. It was against the law for us to read and write. We had no families. They were sold to different states. We got together, congregated, formed a black church, and out of the black churches came our black businesses. Nobody went through what we went through. So that's why when you see me out there talking, I understand if we survived what most folks we talking to could have never survived. Why am I bowing to you? You ought to be bowing to me for being as tough as I've been. You started with a 20-yard advantage. I started behind the starting line. Yet I caught up with you. And you're going to talk about you gave me a favor. DEI. DEI was to undo the fact you would not deal with diversity. We could play baseball before Jackie Robinson. You wouldn't let us in the major leagues. And we can do business now as good as anybody in Silicon Valley. You just shut it down. So let me get this right. We've gone from slavery, picking cottons, to now we picking governors and mayors, but we get no pay for it. Political slavery. Get my vote out. Where's our contracts? No, I need you to do so-and-so. Where is the standard of living homeowners of blacks in the state? No, I need you to serve. No. We need to have a reciprocal conversation. Otherwise, your election is your business. Make it our business. And I'm talking about business. And unless we develop that kind of psychology, which is a psychology of grown folks, free folks, we have got to stop the slave mentality that we apologize for doing what other folks do because it's the way you do things in this country. Well, we have to have a certain standard. You can't talk to us about standards when you got a 34 convicted felon sitting in the White House. Standards that went out the window. Well, what about the family? What about his? Well, I like upright people go to church. This man make himself Jesus on the mountain. And they do business with him all day long. If any black male had done one of those things, they'd have run him out of New Jersey. So the standards are going, why are we afraid to stand up? And so my message to you was that we need to do an internal inspection of ourselves, of not what's wrong with the governor, what's wrong with us, that we accept this. What's wrong with us that we have such inferiority complex that we don't demand the trade that our numbers dictate? that our forefathers paid for. Nobody donated, didn't get up one morning and say, let's be nice to Negroes. People fought. People died. Martin Luther King went to his grave. They talking about changing the Voting Rights Act. We don't know what the Supreme Court is going to do. People, white and black, Goodman, Cheney, Swerner, died to get us the right to vote. And now you're going to act like you did us a favor? You're going to act like you're donating something? No, we earned it. We built this country on our backs and never got paid. "246 years, we worked with no wages. Anybody could be a wealthy nation if you had that kind of workforce you didn't have to pay. You weren't that smart, you were that brutal. But now it's paying time. Now it's time for us to stand up and represent what those that sacrificed for us wanted us to represent. We don't want favors, we want equality. Well, Reverend, you make good sense, but you know, we got certain things we got to do in the city and the municipal and the state budget. Okay, fine. Let's look at the budget. Who do y'all spend the budget with? I mean, who do y'all buy toilet paper from? Who do y'all buy pencils from? Who do y'all do computer business? Anything you do with state and city money comes from tax dollars, and we got people that can do that. Don't give me, you know, Black History Month money. Give me the contracts. And as long as we accept that, that's what they'll give us. But when we start making demands, that's when they have to understand we are serious now. And that's the state of Black New Jersey, is it's time to get up and stand up and be up for yourself. And have the courage to know that if you'll stand up, you will have the same force that your great-grandparents had. Imagine how they stood up. What would give them the strength to look at slave masters and still keep coming? What would give them the strength to look at biting dogs in Birmingham, Alabama, and still keep coming? What would give them the strength to look at bigots and not be afraid? They believed in another power. All we had was God on our side. But we believe that if God be for you, it's more than the whole world against you. And I do not believe the limits of power stops at the White House. There's a God in another house. And if we stand up, he would hold us up. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then, right then, you will hear from heaven. I will heal the land. I will heal the land.
Give it up for our speaker, the Honorable Reverend Al Sharpton. So now that you've been informed and deputized, the question is, where do we go from here? Is this another emotional conversation or transformational moment? That's on you. But on behalf of the members and the board of directors of the African American Chamber of Commerce, we want to thank you for coming today and sharing those words of wisdom and encouragement. God bless you.
Thank you.